I had something a little different in mind for this video, but then life happened. First, it was the noise from construction next door that made it absolutely impossible to film, and then I realized that I wasn't in the frame of mind to do this anyway. My original plan was that I was going to piggyback on the article that I published last week on our blog, which you can go and read, on brand consistency and business core values. And as it turned out, I had a weekend just filled with core value experience. So that's what I'm going to talk about. On Saturday, I had to go to the memorial of a friend of mine whose daughter had died. She was 27 and had an undiagnosed brain tumor, became ill, and a week later she was gone. There was another memorial planned for the next day that we also went to, for a man in his 50s who took his own life. And he was the brother of a very old dear friend of mine. So it was a weekend of really taking stock of living and taking stock of death and feeling really deep emotion for other people, for their families, for their losses and their grief. And one of the things that really struck me was what it was like to go into the family cultures of each of these families, to experience the ritual that they created around their loss, the way that they gathered their family, the way that they gathered their friends, and how they operated under these circumstances, what their needs were, and how they found ways to fulfill those needs. And the contrast between the two services was just absolutely remarkable. And it wasn't just the circumstances, a young woman versus an older man, a person who was ill versus someone who committed suicide. That wasn't it. It had to do with the actual cultures of those families, their beliefs and their ways of approaching their pain. And on Sunday, as I sat under the tent in the 100-degree weather, luckily in the shade, and took part in and witnessed the raw honesty, the willingness of people to stand up and say how they really felt about their relationship with their brother, with the loss, with what this all meant to them, and the confusion, the fear, the panic, the sadness, and even the joy and the laughter in storytelling and remembrances. What struck me, and I have to interrupt myself here and just say that I hope it doesn't seem really callous and hideous to you, or that I am mining these life experiences to use in my marketing. I'm not. I just feel that there's something really important here that I took part in and got to experience and want to bring in. I'm a great believer in the synergy between life and work. And for my own living and working, I make an attempt to not categorize them separately, to not build them in separate silos, and to have boundaries that are fluid. Now, I'm not talking about when I'll answer the phone or when I'll return an email or when I'm willing to have meetings. I have really strong boundaries in that sense. But in the sense that I like to cross over what I learn in each area of my life and bring them together, weave them together to enrich all of it. That's what I'm a great believer in. And what I witnessed was the differences in what is real for people and what they need and how they communicate. And in particular, the service on Sunday struck me really deeply about how willing people were to be authentic and real and sincere, truthful, honest, their own truth. And sometimes those conflicted and they didn't get along, or it didn't match up with someone else's, and yet they were willing to stand up for what they believed. And that was truly beautiful. And I'd like to believe that we can carry that same depth and that same authenticity, that same reality from our living into how we are working and how we are communicating about our work. So in a really kind of peculiar sort of way, this really does tie into brand consistency and core values, because I would like to hope that as we move into the future and as we are co-creating our future together, we're moving towards a time when we can be as real as we're capable of, that we can have that to strive for, that that can be our goal, and that we can all share that and bring our own core values into how we're working, how we're marketing, how we're communicating what we're up to and what we are doing and the service that we're providing. So that was not the video that I expected to make, and I'm not sure if this is the video I should have made, but it was the video that I was compelled to make. So thanks for listening.